Hey guys, just finished watching The Flash, Season 4, Episode 22, Think Fast. And what an episode. This episode was pretty good. Obviously, it's the before last episode, so it's going to be pretty good. It's going to be a really awesome episode. So, it has a 9.4 here on IMDb, and pretty much what I'd give it, maybe even higher. So, it starts off, the first thing is we see, first character we even see in this episode is Diggle, but then it's revealed that it's actually DeVoe playing Diggle. So, that was kind of disappointing that we didn't actually get Diggle in this episode, because I didn't know he was coming, and it was kind of revealed early on. They set photos that he was going to be there and all that stuff, but just the way how little he was actually in the episode is just kind of disappointing. It was really cool, but it's just kind of disappointing. I guess obviously he was busy with Arrow and stuff and being a part of that. But I just wish it would have been cool to see him in this, like, the entire episode type thing. But, oh well, he's here now. So, Harry, and we find out that Harry's getting very worse. And then we end up seeing the real Diggle when they try to find out where he was it Fallout, where he's been locked up. So, they find out where that is, and Diggle, and they get the real Diggle. And it's funny that Barry goes to get him, and Cisco and Caitlin get a garbage can for him to throw up in, because they know that he's not going to like it. And then they have 12 hours to go type thing, and then Joe, and then it's also revealed that Joe knows that Wally West is on a time ship. And I think that's an interesting idea, because I don't remember ever, did Wally West ever, maybe he sent out a message via John Constantine, via Sarah and the team, and the Rave Rider, maybe. It would have been cool to see when he got the note, or how he got the note. Maybe he texted him just before taking off. That would have been just something cool to check with that, and to note is find out how Joe, found out that Wally West is on the time ship. That he tried calling him, and he's like nowhere to be found within his timeline. Because imagine if Wally's on Legend of Tomorrow and he's in the 70s, whatever, or he's in the Wild Wild West with Jonah Hex, and they're doing that. If Joe in 2018 calls Wally's cell phone or a phone number or whatever, is that going to still ring in back in the time if he has his phone with him in the Wild Wild West? I'd assume that it wouldn't, since it's out of cell service, obviously. But we'll have to wait and see where things go with that. But it's interesting to see that he knows about that. Maybe I could see, if we go back to the episode, was it the end of this episode, or the end of one of the episodes of Legend of Tomorrow, when Wally West first joined the team, and Rip Hunter found him in China, kind of meditating with monks and stuff. Now, I could have seen him just be like, okay, cool, you want me to go save you a time? Rip Hunter gives him the whole spiel and this kind of type thing as to what he wanted to do. And he's just like, because they did spend a bit of time, I think, in 2018, just kind of jumping around, where they stole back Rip Hunter's jacket, and they messed with Gary and stuff. So maybe during that time he left him a note. He left a note to Joe or something, which would have been cool to see that and set that up. When they just kind of explain, I'd like to see how things go like this. If Joe got a text from him, got a phone call, got a message, or whatever, show Wally sending the text, on Legend of Tomorrow, show Joe receiving the text. The actors don't need to cross over. It's just a little tidbits here that could be easily just emailed from writers to writers from other show, which I hope that they would all kind of be somewhat really close to each other, same building, almost same offices, maybe just different offices in the same building type thing. So it would just be cool to see that, rather than just kind of, he just knows, end of story, no explanation as to how. It would be really cool to see Wally, to have seen Wally West, send the text, and then see it received on both sides, and see both sides of both sides of everything. Kind of like how on The Flash we saw when Oliver Queen was revealed to be thought to be the Green Arrow over on Arrow, and it was the mayor. Oliver Queen is the Green Arrow. There was a newspaper over on The Flash kind of just acknowledging that is going on type thing. I think I like that idea. Also with this, I know it's the mid-season final. It's the before last episode. It would have been cool to see a very little teaser about the fact that the whole thing that went over on Arrow, if you think it was the last episode, or maybe the episode before, where Oliver went to court, went to court for his identity as the Green Arrow and all that stuff, and him being the mayor and all that stuff, and so much went down and stuff. There was big things that happened that it would have been cool to see those things referenced in this episode of The Flash. Just kind of teasing different things type thing. Would have been really cool, since we got that kind of reveal. Would have been front page news, and it would have been really cool to see that teased over on here. The fact the idea is going on. I think what it was that Tommy Merlin was revealed to being the Green Arrow type thing over on The Flash. So I think that was really over on Arrow. So I think that, again, in a newspaper, someone picks up, maybe Caitlin picks it up at the well, she's at the therapist's office. Maybe it's a quick flash over on the someone walks in. Did you hear that Tommy Merlin was the Green Arrow? And then someone walks into the room saying that, and then they immediately switch the conversation away from it. So it's like, yeah, they know about it, but they got more pressing stuff to deal with. So I think that would be really cool to see that. So I think it's going to be cool to see where things go with that idea, with the whole Joe West, and finding how did you find out that Wally is on the time ship. I don't think we're going to get the answer to that, but I would have liked to have seen the other side of that from Wally's side. And then Caitlin and Cisco want to go into Flash time. They want to be able to help Barry in Flash time and train in that. Cecile starts becoming people when her powers start becoming more, she becomes their thoughts type thing. They kind of take over her, and she kind of starts acting like them. It's an okay storyline. I feel like it looks like it's going to be part of the next episode, just because we do see Cecile with some sort of headpiece on with DeVoe, so maybe that will be useful. For now, it's just kind of a silly storyline, just to be have these silly moments, which are they're okay. They're not super funny or anything as if they're trying to be, but hopefully it looks like it definitely is going to be more key related rather than just a gag to have in this episode type thing. Caitlin ends up falling in during one of the Flash time training type thing, and she ends up having a flashback to like a bicycle accident she had as a young child, and so that kind of goes off crazy. And I was thinking when she was falling, I was like, oh my god, is she gonna hit her head? And then this is going to, because she's hitting her head at Mach whatever, like Barry said, in Mach 1, Mach something, and she hits her head. Is this gonna jumpstart Killer Frost? And I think that could be really cool. Maybe she gets that concussion type thing, and it just kind of it sets off Killer Frost. Now I thought that would be an interesting idea, but at the same time, why would they have, what's the whole point of getting rid of Killer Frost just to have it come back just in time for the last episode? That doesn't make sense to me. Now, I could see it coming back, obviously, in the last episode. It looks like it will be, and that, once the whole story is done, once they've defeated DeVoe, or whether or not they don't defeat DeVoe, since we do know there's been confirmed for season 5, if Killer Frost, gets shown up, like the last thing we see of Caitlin is her kind of bits of her hair going white and about to become Killer Frost. So I think I could see that happening at the last minute. Maybe at the last minute she overcomes everything and she kind of turns into Killer Frost the last second. But I could see, I feel like the whole point of getting rid of it is so that she doesn't have it and she goes in, weaker than she would as Killer Frost type thing. And then Barry and Cisco start yelling at each other when Barry doesn't want to train them anymore because he feels bad about how everyone he's ever trained ends up getting hurt type thing, whereas I don't remember Wally ever getting hurt or even Jesse Quick ever getting hurt type thing. So I guess it's only elongated man Ralph Didney who actually got hurt, even though he was the one who even got better too from the training. And then we see that Barry ends up doing the whole thing where he throws the thing from the little ball from Eminette, and he ends up going through Flash time, making it through the portal, and he throws the ball and destroys one of the satellites. But DeVoe just kind of uses one of the Starlab satellites and replaces his own, as if nothing was ever wrong. Why did he need his own satellites up there? Why couldn't he just, rearrange any other satellites up there? If he could just take one of the Starlab satellites, aren't there dozens of satellites up there floating that he could just reprogram using his tech powers type thing? I don't know. I don't know why he needed, if he was able to, why he needed to throw his own up there if he couldn't just use what was already up there, But whatever. we find out DeVoe doesn't really care, and he just kind of wants to get rid of emotion and ends up going through with everything anyways. Caitlin ends up vibing back to her flashback and finds out that Killer Frost was with her as a kid. And it's interesting because she also has a story where she talks about her father growing up with ALS type thing, and he kind of hid it from her. He didn't want them to see his kids to see him suffer and type thing. And I thought that was going to be part of the whole Killer Frost flashback and the flashback that it was going on. And I feel like it's definitely something that maybe it's going to be interesting to see where it comes back, because I feel like it's not, that storyline with her father and ALS might be something that's not really, it wasn't mentioned for no reason type thing, especially at this point so close to the end. It's going to probably come back to in play. So, and then DeVoe ends up starting the Enlightenment, and we go into the next episode. So that's what we end with, is DeVoe starting the Enlightenment. So that's really going to be cool to see where things go with this. Like I said in the trailer, it looks like Cecile's going to be involved, and she is there with DeVoe. It's really going to be cool to see that. It looks like Barry goes and sits in the chair and enters in DeVoe's head, so that'll be really cool to play with that. Then we also had Iris West going and looking for the mechanic, Marlies DeVoe, which was an interesting idea, but it's just kind of predictable. I've been predicting it the whole time ever since they started this season. It was kind of obvious that because they're giving her such a heavy backstory, and they're building up both of their relationship, it's just obvious that she was just going to be betraying him, and they're going to use her to get at DeVoe, and she's going to be the one that ends up helping them do that. And it just kind of seems a bit too predictable because of that. It just seems, I would like to see, I don't know, I'd like to see where things go with this. Hopefully it doesn't seem too predictable, but the idea that the mechanic Marlies ends up turning on DeVoe and teaming up with Team Flash to stop DeVoe seemed a bit too predictable, and I wish they had done this. Because of that, I wish I had done this a long time ago. Maybe break the DeVoe and his and Marlies and the mechanic, break them up a few episodes ago, so you have 5 or 6 episodes of them teaming up, and you get that out of the way, that predictable thing that, she's going to turn on him and end up teaming up with Team Flash. If they had done that a lot earlier on in the season, then it would have been less predictable, because they would have got that out of the way, the predictableness of that. They would have done that, there you go, she's done, move on now, there's now that predictable thing is kind of out of the way. So I don't know why they're saving it for here, so hopefully we could see where things go with that, and they can maybe find a twist with it to keep it not so predictable. But it just seems super predictable that she's going to be the one, and it was so predictable seeing that she was going to be the one turning against DeVoe and end up teaming up with Team Flash to stop DeVoe. So we'll have to wait and see where things go with this. Hopefully also on Arrow coming up tomorrow, we get to see some sort of thing as to some connection as to Diggle disappearing and then coming back. If he gets sick, coming into the Flash, do we see him nauseous in Arrow, in that episode of Arrow where if he's gone for only a very little bit? Because it looks like at this point he was, maybe there's an episode coming up of where he's in it but not in it enough. He's in it enough to be able to do it there, so he's in half of this episode, half of that episode, making a full episode in between. And so hopefully we get to see that. Maybe maybe we see the scene where where Diggle disappears and we see him gone. I think that would be quite interesting to see that. Just Diggle and then the Flash lightning, and then a note left back. Had to borrow Diggle for a sec. Flash type thing, and then he comes back a couple minutes later type thing, 30 minutes later. That would be really cool, seeing that, and then seeing him kind of all his stomach is all upset, just kind of like, I need to go sit down type thing, and just vomiting type thing. That would be quite cool, seeing that, just connections to that and making it all part of this together type thing as to where things are going would be quite fun seeing that. So all in all, I really like this episode. Definitely can't wait to see where things go with this in the next episode. So we'll see where things go from here. So tomorrow I'm going to try and go see Deadpool 2. Got my tickets already set for that. We'll see if I can get off work in time. But so you can look out for that, my Deadpool 2 review. Probably not spoiler review. And then I'll try and I'll get some Arrow and the Legion's episodes. Might be watching the Legion over the weekend, but Arrow and stuff and Gotham will have to be pushed off. I'm pretty sure Gotham's over. I forget if Gotham's still on or not, but we'll have to wait and see. So there will be a video out tomorrow, either Legion or Arrow, or we'll see. I'll try and put something out if I'm not working too late. So yeah, what do you think, guys, about this episode of The Flash, Season 4, Episode 22? Think fast, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.